Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, friends.
It is good to see you again. We have talked a lot about apples, and the place where apple goes is called the apple orchard. And we want to talk to you about what you do at the apple orchard and what you might find. So we're going to start with the title of this book is A Day at the Apple Orchard. And the person who writes the words and draws the pictures, that's the author and illustrator, is Megan Faulkner and Adam Kroeski. Okay? And what are some things you notice about the cover page of our book?
Well, as I look at our book, I noticed something about it. There's pictures.
There are pictures.
But these look different than the pictures I look in my other books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these look like real pictures. Pictures like if I went to the apple orchard, it looks like I took these pictures.
Yeah.
So they aren't cartoons.
No, they're not. You know what I think they're called, Miss
What are they called?
Photographs or photos.
They are called photographs. So these are pictures and photographs of we have 3 kids on a hay bale. Maybe they just went on a hay ride. We have a bee on a flower. I wonder what that has to do with
I don't know.
apple
We're going to have
orchard.
to read our story and find out.
We have our big red apples, and we have some apples in a barrel.
Ooh.
Barrel.
RB.
RB. All right. And this is our title page as well. Oh, so it says text by Megan and photographs by Adam. So there's our word photograph. So he took the pictures of these kids. It's a sunny day in early fall, which it is because we just talked about how fall started this week. Perfect for apple picking.
It is. There are lots of places. What are they sitting on? Do you know?
Big red
Tractor.
A big red tractor. They probably are going to go on a hay ride. There's probably hay bales on a trailer behind the tractor.
Maybe.
Before we go into the orchard, we learn how apples grow. We did that.
We did. It was called a life cycle.
A life cycle.
The life cycle of an apple.
All right, let's find out what this book tells us about the life cycle. So, it has taken many months for apples to grow and ripen. Just like all living things, apples need the right amount of rain and sun to be healthy, which we talked about.
And
water.
I remember that you told me I have to be patient and wait because
Yes.
it's going to take a little time.
And it takes a long time to grow an apple. The life of an apple begins in spring. During the winter months, the tree doesn't grow or change. This is called dormancy, which means it's basically asleep. Warm weather awakens the tree, and it begins the new cycle of growth in the springtime. Leaves push out from the tiny buds. So here are the buds on the end of our sticks, our limbs, and here are our leaves poking out. 5 petal blossoms grow in beautiful shades of pink and white. So here are our flowers. Now, on the front cover, we saw those flowers, and there was a bee on them.
Yeah. I don't know what the bee is, but I think that means that these are kind of like the apples or like the start of the apples.
Yeah.
So I wonder what that bee does.
Apple farmers set up beehives in the orchard.
Oh, we're going to find out. What do the beehives?
If there are beehives in the orchard, should we watch out for bees when we go apple picking?
I think I would, just in case. Even though the weather is changing and you don't see a lot of bees around, there might be bees in the orchard.
When a honeybee lands on an apple blossom, it sips the sweet nectar, so it drinks the juices of the apple flower.
Oh.
The grains of pollen stick to its legs, so there's these little yellow things that stick to the bee's legs. And as the bee flies from flower to flower, the pollen, the yellow stuff, carries and fertilizes the flowers. This is called pollination. It's a big word.
Oh, pollination. So that means the bees are helping the apples grow.
Yes. And as spring turns into summer, which means it's getting hotter, the flower petals fall from the trees. On the branches, ovaries begin to grow, and they will become the apples. So where the flowers fell off, there's like these little, like, the start of an apple. They're called the ovaries. And all summer long, the apples get bigger and bigger. As autumn...
Ooh,
Yeah.
that was another word. Do you remember that was a word for? fall. It was the word for fall, so fall or autumn.
As autumn approaches, the apples start to ripen. They turn from green to red. But some apples, like Granny Smith, stay green. And others, such as Golden Delicious, turn yellow. And the green and the yellow kind of look alike. So we have the green and we have the yellow. The yellow is just a little lighter. By late summer or early fall, the apples are fully ripened. And it's a thing called a harvest.
Ooh.
So when we harvest apples, that's when we go pick them off the trees.
Yeah.
You harvest grapes and pumpkins and all of those nice fall vegetables too. We pick up our baskets and get ready for a tractor ride. Oh, look at the 3 kids that we saw on our cover. They're on hay bales on a tractor ride. And there's our tractor we saw too. The tractor takes us into the orchard. We're picking Empire apples today because they're the ripest. They're the best to eat right now.
So I wonder what Empire means. Is it a type of apple?
I think it is a type of apple.
So
Alicia.
there are, just like it said, Granny Smith and I think
Red Delicious
and Golden Delicious.
Yep.
There are different types of apples. So there's so many different types of apples to try.
Before we start, we learn the best way to pick an apple. So you better listen up so you know what to do.
All right, I haven't gone apple picking yet, so I need to listen.
So instead of pulling it off the tree, we have to turn the eye, the bottom, to the sky and tug it gently. We want to make sure the bud is not damaged for next year. So we have our apple hanging on a tree like this. We have to turn it so it pulls from the upside down, and our stem will stay right on our apple. We want our stem to stay on our apple.
And it doesn't hurt the tree.
And it's time to start picking. Apples bruise easily, so we want to place them very gently into the basket. While we're picking, we see wire guards at the bottom of the trees, because we aren't the only ones who like apple trees. Apple farmers have to make the trees safe from hungry creatures such as rabbits, rodents, and insects, because rabbits like to eat the trees.
Yeah.
They'll eat the apples, and it'll ruin the bottom of the tree.
Oh, and then if they eat the bottom of the tree
won't grow.
the tree won't grow. And that means we won't have any apples.
When our baskets are full, it's time to head back to the farm. Now we sample the apples. They're crisp and delicious, so they tried their apples.
Ooh, they like the apples.
We tried apple cider in our class.
Ooh.
Next, we see how apple juice and cider are made with an old-fashioned hand press. So they put the apples into this press and they turn the wheel. The cider comes out of the bottom. Then we have a taste test. We tried apple cider today too, Miss
I
Alicia.
love apple cider. That's probably one of my favorites.
We did a lot with apples today. It's been so much fun learning about apples. We can't wait to come back next year. Miss Alicia,
Fun book.
I love reading and talking about apples. I love that we spend a whole week on apples because there's always more to learn.
There is so much to learn about apples. I know my class this week, we just started apples. We only did like a few days of it, but we are going to be doing a lot with apples next week because there's so much. And just like Miss Sierra says, we are going to be making some applesauce. And we're going to be taste testing some apples. And maybe you, friends, if you haven't gone to the apple orchard yet, you could go and try different apples.
Yeah, a lot of apple orchards will let you try the apples before you pick them so you know what to pick.
Yeah.
That's what we did when we went apple picking. We tried 3 different kinds of apples that were ready to be picked.
Yeah, so you have to figure out what one is your favorite. I know my favorite. It has taken Miss Alicia a while, but my favorite is called Honeycrisp.
Oh, I like
I do like a Honeycrisp apple because they're sweet, but they also are very crisp when you eat them. So they have a little bit of a crunch.
Yeah, they're crunchy. You can hear it when you bite in. And so that's one of your senses working. If you're biting, you can hear it. And then you can taste it as soon as you bite it. So your senses are all working at the same time. And as you break open an apple, you can smell it too. The smell of an apple.
The smell of an apple.
All right, friends. I think we're done for this week.
Yeah, and I know. And so we're going to be doing something exciting next week, but we're going to keep that a secret. And hopefully you guys come back and find out more, maybe about apples or something fun.
All right, practice your A's and B's, and we're going to move on to C's next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Friends.